Welcome to KHM Today, your weekly go-to resource for industry news and straight up fun. I am your host, Carolyn Orff, and we are celebrating again today with some amazing guests. We're so happy that you are with us today. Do you guys realize that in 2 weeks we will be celebrating our 50th episode? So I hope you'll all tune in and join us on January 5th, 2022 for this exciting occasion. And we've got some changes and some updates, and we're just really excited to bring you another year of KHM Today. So I have to tell you guys, before the show, I was kind of like, going through Instagram and Facebook, and there was the funniest thing that I just read, and I thought about it as we are coming up on what is probably yet another weekend of holiday parties. Did you know that those people that walk out of a party and do not say goodbye to anyone save 2 days of their life? How amazing is that? I think my children would probably say, I wish you would do this at church, like not say goodbye to anyone, because it seems like we're there for an extra hour. But I'm going to try it this weekend for holiday parties, Friday and Saturday night. Just whisk myself away, and I'll probably save myself a whole lot of time. So anyways, we've got a great show today. A couple of things before we get started. Number one, boot camp is released, you guys. If you are a KHM agent, we have our first boot camp in 2 years, February of 2022. If you are a new agent, if you're an experienced agent but just need a refresher, please come and join us. It's going to be so much fun. It's 4 days jam-packed full of education and networking. So please make sure that you sign up for that. Second, for those of you that are in the Tennessee or Kentucky area, our hearts go out to all those that were impacted this week by the tornadoes. Please remember, your KHM family is here for you. So if you need anything, all you have to do is reach out and let us know. So please, please, please make sure if you need assistance, we are here to help you. And finally, for those of you in the Midwest, we're kind of having some crazy weather today. So in the event that my power or my internet gets knocked out, Matt is here today to take over for me. So, just so you know, I'm not cutting out. I'm not running scared. The power and the weather is just sort of impacting things today. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's make it through this hour. And finally, a big thank you to our sponsors. Apple Leisure Group is our show sponsor, along with our segment sponsors, Travel Impressions, Blue Sky Tours, Celebrity Cruise Line, Norwegian Cruise Line, Royal Caribbean Cruise Line, Delta Vacations, and Oceania Cruises. So we thank all of our wonderful partners. Let's get this show started. Cayman Islands opened up November 20th to tourists. Here to share recent updates is our first guest, longtime friend Cheryl Hudak with the Cayman Islands Visitors Bureau. Thanks, Cheryl, for being here.
Well, thank you. It's a pleasure, and happy holidays.
Same to you. And I love the fact, we were just laughing about this, you're in a turtleneck in Arizona. I never thought I'd see the day, but I'm so glad that you're wearing a turtleneck. Makes me feel like we're one now, that you're not always in warm.
We are.
So let's talk about it. How's it going? This is exciting.
It is exciting. We were closed for almost 20 months. Who would have ever guessed that it would have lasted this long? So as you just mentioned, officially November 20th, we started accepting the leisure traveler onto the island. It's still a little slow, and one of the main reasons is just the fact that we are trying to get back on the airline schedules again. For anyone that has flown recently, and you've seen it on the news, flight crews and planes are hard to get your hands on. So mid-February to mid-March is when you're going to probably see full service come back up. We do have 2 carriers currently flying into the islands. So you can take Cayman Airways out of Tampa or Miami into the islands. And you can also take JetBlue out of New York. But I know you're in Denver, and we're excited that February 26th, our Denver service is going to start up, which is nonstop into the Cayman Islands. So it's still a little bit slow, but it's coming, and that's what we're excited about.
Awesome. And so what can we expect when we're there? Are things fully open? Are masks required? Do we
Well,
kind
as
of
of right
get
now,
still touch and go?
Yes, exactly. We're opening up slowly. So, many of our sites had been closed just because we didn't have the tourism base there. We certainly had a lot of business travelers that were coming onto the island, but they had to quarantine, and that wasn't what the leisure traveler really wanted to do. So things are starting to open back up. A lot of the hotels have been open since a year ago, June and July. The Ritz-Carlton just went under a huge renovation. It's just getting ready to reopen again. So you will see a lot of the properties and a lot of the restaurants and sites slowly opening back up. Turtle Center is supposed to be opening back up in the next month. If you've ever been to the Cayman Islands, you've probably gone out to Stingray City. It's been a long time for those poor stingrays. We actually had to have the locals going out feeding them simply to keep them there. So again, I'm sure they're very excited to get all the tourists back that will be jumping in the water and feeding them and admiring them. So slow but sure, things are going to be coming back. As far as masks, this is a day-to-day type situation, just like it is here probably in the US. I would say one of our best websites that I highly recommend everyone taking note of is Travel Cayman, CAYMAN.gov.ky. This is a site that we are updating with all of the rules, registrations that you need to do, because you do have to apply for a travel declaration to get onto the island. You need to know when you have to be tested. The Cayman Islands have gone to right now 1 day prior. You need to test before you go onto the island. And then you need to take a test once you're down there, depending on how long you're staying, but it is usually on your 2nd, 5th, and 10th day. So again, there's just some rules and requirements that you need to be aware of when you're selling the Cayman Islands currently to your clients, and that's the great resource to be able to find that information at.
Perfect. Do we see cruise lines heading back anytime soon or not quite yet?
Well, we have one ship actually coming in on December 28th. That's Holland America, and I will call it sort of a test run. So there was some requirements that they had to follow. One was it was under 1,600 passengers, which it is. Second is everyone on the ship has to be fully vaccinated, which is how it's sailing out. And the third one was we are the first port of call. So this is kind of a test. We are currently in what we're calling phase 4 of the opening process. So anyone 5 and above that is fully vaccinated can now come onto the island. We are hoping that once we get into phase 5, which will be sometime after the first of the year, we will be accepting families of any age, which means those under 5 and cruise ships. So right now we've only got the one. Again, they're just watching it out there to see what happens. Being British, we're very conservative, but we're certainly anticipating that we'll be able to take some of the cruise ships back in rather shortly.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here and for that update. I'm excited. I know you said you're probably going in February.
Yes, I'm excited to get back there finally after 2 years. It's just been such a long time in coming. So again, if you don't mind, I'll just repeat it, Carolyn. It's just travelcayman.gov.ky. Great website. And also the other resource that you guys have at your disposal is simply our Travel Agent University, our Cayman Kind courses. Now that we're going to be up and open again, we will be giving out our monthly prizes again. So every month that your clients travel, the next month we will be doing drawings and you can win up to $500 being our top booker for that particular month. So again, please take the time, take the courses. It won't take you long, but it'll also give you a great overview of what the Cayman Islands have to offer. And it's really how we find out where you live. So that way I get to invite you to my local events and on our fam trips.
Perfect. Cheryl, thank you so much. Have a wonderful next couple of weeks celebrating this holiday season, and I'm sure we'll see you back here soon.
Thanks, Carolyn. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, so happy. I love when we see more and more things opening up. All right, you guys, the next segment is all about our BDMs, here to discuss the role of the BDM in the past, currently, and what the future is looking like. Please welcome Cindy Kaul from Apple Leisure Group and Kathy Killen from Royal Caribbean Cruise Line. Welcome, ladies. Did that sound a little bit like the ghosts of Christmas, or past, future, and present? That's what it sounded like to me. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So, let's talk a little bit about what your job description was 2 years ago pre-pandemic. Cindy, what was your job as a business development manager?
Okay, so not technically anything like it was during the pandemic. So my primary responsibility that really I need to shift back into is to grow incremental revenue for the ALGV brands. I support travel agents. I go through reports and slice and dice reporting to find top producing agents, those who are showing potential, maybe agents who have significantly dropped in business. It's my job to find out why that is and what I can do to change that and to train. And lots of travel throughout the United States and internationally, lots of meetings, lots of webinars and trainings. That consumes the majority of my work week. So that in a nutshell. So I don't want to steal Kathy's thunder and maybe give her a chance to also share and add upon that. But just briefly, those are the things that I consider my top priorities.
So Kathy, I would probably say 2 years ago, I would almost describe your role being very similar. Would you agree?
Yes, very much so. And to Cindy's point, I think that at least with the pandemic taking place, where we had to become very familiar with technology very quickly as far as moving a lot of things to virtual, which we had not really done before, because a lot of our, at least my role, we call on every agency. So I spend the majority of my time behind the wheel, and I visit travel agencies all the time, whether it's trainings, talking about marketing plans and how to grow the business, which leading up to the pandemic was record-breaking years, year over year. So I think that as far as, yes, the role has shifted, but at the end of the day, just to Cindy's point, we are here to support our travel partners and to continue to grow this business, because cruising is back, and it's going to be an exciting time. So
So then the pandemic hits and you find yourself doing more things virtually. Did you find yourself having to work closer with agents in kind of the back office as far as FCC goes and refunds and things like that? Did that play into any part of your, pandemic role as a BDM?
yes, and I'm sure Cindy can say the same thing as far as you can imagine, prior to the pandemic, future cruise certificates, we had a handful. And a lot of times these future cruise certificates were issued because of a hurricane or a crane incident, to where we had to cancel sailings or a customer service failure on board. So you went from a manual process of a handful to millions overnight. So from the perspective of a sales manager, we did, of course, notice, and Lavesh, of course, is my right-hand person down there in Miami. Lavesh Janani, I'm going to give you a shout out because I would not be able to do my job without him, as well as a slew of other people at headquarters. But it was a learning curve because we had to figure out a way to support the trade with now millions of FCCs. So we, for the most part, have ironed most of that out. We now have real-time redemption, which is something that we've never had before in the past. So there's a lot more transparency, whereas before you were looking at a lag time. From the time that a future cruise certificate was applied, manual process, to finally seeing it show up on the invoice weeks later. But as far as for me and Lavesh, I think a lot of it just came down to trying to keep the lines of communication open between the back end of the house and what was happening for our travel partners. And that line of communication was very important because it was stressful. Stressful for all of our travel advisors, for their clients, for us as a company. And we really had to figure out a way to pull together and try to support each other even more.
And Cindy, I know that your role almost completely flip-flopped.
Right.
So sort of stopped being about the webinars and developing business and became almost crisis management.
Absolutely. To put it into perspective, at the time of the pandemic, we lost almost half of our entire sales team. Our host team alone went from 5 BDMs and 2 directors to 2 BDMs and 1 director throughout the whole pandemic. And not just our team, but the entire company had to reduce staff. So that is where, of course, my role wasn't to try to drive sales. All of you agents were canceling and dealing with your own crises. And of course, my job would not to be to say, hey, here's some promotions for sale. Nobody was traveling. So yeah, we got into the trenches and helped where needed. I learned more about accounting than I ever want to ever know about in my life. I broke a calculator, because I was pounding on it so hard all the time. But yeah, all of these things that we tried to do to help agents, because we knew it was tough to get through to the call center. We tried to answer questions on policies, airline policies, our own policies, hotels, just to try to help to get answers for all of you, and help out with that influx. And it was so difficult to get through to customer support. As I'm sure we've been communicating now, there is a much larger staff in customer support. They've ramped up. Hold times are not as high anymore. So ideally, my involvement in reservation issues should be minimal. I mean, I know we're still kind of getting through some of those, here's these lasting travel credits. We just got to get this off our plate, or this was done wrong, or that. I'm happy to escalate, but honestly, I mean, you're going to get your answers much quicker when you're going through our customer support departments, and anything that I can do to help to escalate to the proper pre-travel, during travel, post-travel departments. Still, of course, I'm able to do that.
So what do you see as we are quickly approaching 2022? Cruising is definitely back. Land is absolutely back. I feel like we get these hiccups, right? Every once in a while, you're like, oh, But what do you see? Do you see this role going back to what it originally was? Do you see the two roles morphing together? Or is 2022 just a year where almost this job description looks not totally different, but different than it did?
Right. Well, I think it's going to be fairly similar, except for the fact that we have found a way to, at least within our company, found a way to work smarter. We have really dug deep as far as trying to figure out a way to support the host business model with secondary phone field, which is something that if anybody that's on here is not familiar with secondary phone field, let us know, because that's going to give our travel advisors local representation, local invites with a local sales manager. And it's really just another layer of support that Royal Caribbean can offer for our travel advisors. But because, and I'm sure that many people have already seen this, travel advisors are more important now more than ever. And I think that just finding ways to support the independent contractor of a host business model is incredibly important, because it continues to grow, and I see that getting even better in the future.
Mm-hmm. And Cindy, do you see? I would imagine you're hoping that you don't have to continue with the pandemic role.
No, I've gone for the past 2 years kicking and screaming about this isn't fair for any of us, but I have good news to bring throughout the end of this year, that we have added one more, or we will be at the start of the year adding another member to our host sales team. I am going to continue working with KHM, but I have a larger account that is getting shifted. So our territories, we should be alleviated a little bit more to help me be able to manage much better. I am so looking forward to that and being able to shift back to my role of growing sales. You can all expect that I will be checking production and doing the best I can to reach out to agents and seeing what we can do to collaborate and set goals and grow your business, and be supportive of you in every way. I think Kathy touched on this, where there was so many virtual events going on. I know ALGV was at the whole forefront of, even this past year, pressing travel, and we were out there doing fam trips and with agents, and a lot of social interaction to build up consumer confidence and try to keep that business as best as we could throughout even this past year. And it's just going to be growing. And I know I've brought this up a number of times, and you should all know the news that we are now acquired by Hyatt. So there's so many more opportunities. And maybe we'll see, nothing really has changed in my role having anything to do with Hyatt, but I'm part of that company now. So we may see new opportunities and maybe some nuances or efficiencies in how we might be doing our business. So I see a lot of great things to come in 2022. but definitely looking forward to getting back into that role of business generator, not reservation escalator.
Well, ladies, I appreciate your time today and your thoughts. I think your job is so important, and kudos to the two of you for hanging in there the last 2 years, because I know it hasn't been easy. And, we just appreciate you and the work that you do. And I can't wait to see you in person at events. And although I will say that virtual piece, we figured it out so that it isn't boring, it's exciting. I feel like there's a piece where we all grew in the virtual arena, and we're trying to do things a little differently. And therefore, if you can't be on the road, you can still have an experience, virtually. So thank you both.
Thank you. Happy holidays, everyone.
Same
Thank
to you
you.
guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh my goodness. All right, you guys, you all know I love to mix a cocktail on the show. I am not great at it. I'm an amateur at best, especially compared to our next guest. So please welcome Vice President of Beverage Operations for Carnival Cruise Line, Eddie Allen. Hi, Eddie.
Hey,
How are you?
can you see me? I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Happy holidays, everyone.
Same to you. I know you're so busy, so the time, taking the time to do this, and of course, taking the time last week to speak before the show. I know you're such a busy guy. Can you explain your role when it comes to, what do you do on a daily basis as the Vice President of Beverage Operations?
Wow. Part of what I love about my job is my daily job changes. It's never the same. Every morning I wake up to something different. So to begin with, I work with our teams on our new builds, on our new concepts, on new bars throughout our ships and our fleets. From there, though, I'm also working with supplier negotiations right now with supply chain challenges, right, and our distributors. Got an amazing team of close to 2,500 employees in the beverage department who bring joy and amazing experiences to our guests every day, right? They're all amazing and so much fun. And so I kind of keep everything going and juggle all of those balls and everything else that comes with that.
Awesome. So should we make a cocktail?
I think we should. I definitely, I speak better with
and then we'll talk some more. So
I
okay,
thought
I got to bring my bar over closer to me. So what are we making today?
Well, I thought we'd make a Moscow Mule, and I was going to make a variation. It's something that I love. In the simplest form, a Moscow Mule is just ginger beer and vodka, a little bit of lime juice. But there's all sorts of variations going back. Trader Joe's book in 1940s talks about a variation that uses tequila. I thought today I would use some mezcal, right? Mezcal is similar to tequila, but from Oaxaca, and it's made a little smokier than your average tequila. You can use anything you want. I know a lot of people that like to use rum in their mules. So today I thought we would take maybe a couple ounces of your chosen spirit.
Okay. I have my Tito's here.
Fantastic. Yeah, from Texas, just like me.
Okay. And you're probably eyeballing this, but I'm measuring.
Yeah, my pour is pretty heavy today, though, so it's good to measure. I think making a cocktail is much more like baking than cooking, right? When you're making a spaghetti sauce, you can add a little this, a little that. When you're baking, you want to know exactly what how much baking soda, how much flour. So next we'll use ginger beer. Go ahead, pour your vodka. Yeah, go ahead, pour it in
So
the
now I
rice.
have this cup here. Is that what I'm supposed to use? Yeah.
Traditionally, a Moscow Mule does come in a copper mug. It retains that cold temperature longer. I'm not as fancy, so I'm just going to use, a crystal glass.
I told you
So
these
from there,
guys
we're going
know
to
I
add
live with
ginger
an
beer.
amateur bartender.
I'm surprised you didn't have him come in here and make these for you.
It's so funny. I probably should have done that. He's upstairs watching the wind blow. All right, here's now after my my vodka, am I putting lime juice in?
No, I'm going to use a fresh lime, which is, I think, really all you need. So I'm just going to squeeze some in on top. But yeah, ginger beer, ice, vodka, or spirit of your choice. Squeeze a little fresh lime juice in on top. The ginger beer is great. It has that spicy bite to it, but also has a sweetness that the lime juice cuts through.
So now, because I have the recipe here from Carnival, because I love that, because you can actually get them online. Like when it says top with ginger beer, am I filling up the mug with ginger beer, or am I just putting a splash in?
Well, I think that's up to you and subjective, and it depends on the size of the cup too, right? Um,
I feel like
Typically,
I
when
need
we
a little
make
bit more than just
cocktails,
top it off.
when I make cocktails, I generally think about a 4.5 ounce recipe, right? So if we're
Yeah.
using 1.5, 2 ounces of spirit, we'd want to top that with another 2.5, 3 ounces of ginger beer.
Okay.
Stir.
Cheers. I
Cheers.
forgot my ice.
Ah,
Oh, that's
how is it?
nice.
Yeah, you
That's
like
really
that?
nice.
Easy, right? Especially when we're
Yeah.
entertaining over the holidays. It's something you can make for your friends, for your family. Don't get stuck behind the bar doing it all day. You're not shaking and muddling. Yeah, I like them
I
a
love
lot.
it. Well, and you know, the amount of talent I have behind the bar is basically a gin and tonic, which is like just two things. Like I can handle that, but anything more complicated, and I can't do it. Okay, so you talked about kind of the cocktail creation. Let's talk about some of those supply chain issues that you're having right now, because I'm imagining like these spreadsheets for each cruise ship and what sells on this ship versus this ship, and you've got these spreadsheets, and right now you're like, oh my gosh, we can't get in, you know, Diet Coke. Why can't we get in Diet Coke? So how do you solve those issues when you can't get things to the ships on time?
It's a team effort. Don't think that I'm doing it all by myself. We've got a great procurement team that's working close with me and my shipboard teams and my shoreside team, but it's a challenge right now. Normally, with almost 50 years in operation, we have great historical data on what our guests like and what our trends are. And so in a normal world, pre-COVID, predicting our needs was very easy with very few hiccups. But we all know, I mean, we see it in our grocery stores at home. We read about it in the newspaper. There's supply chain issues all over the world. I sailed into the port of Long Beach last week, and if you see the number of containers out in California, and it's what we read about, right? It's what we hear on the news at night, and it's real. We're doing everything we can to ensure we have the products our guests need to ensure they have the experience they come to know and love from Carnival. And so if that means that we're buying root beer at Sam's Club, well, maybe we have to buy some root beer at Sam's Club. Hopefully not. We are buying what we can, and we are loading up our inventories and increasing our par levels to help us kind of weather the storm. But there are challenges. You and I just the other day talking about Crown Royal. Crown Royal has come and said they won't sell any more product to cruise lines until 2023. And a lot of our guests look at me and say, well, why don't you have Crown Royal? I can get it down the street at my local liquor store. And even there, if you start looking, you'll notice that they've changed sizes, and you're not seeing liters, and you're not seeing the big 1.75 bottles. And, it's a challenge for all of us. Again, we're doing everything we can to make sure we have the products our guests love, or we're finding great substitutes for them.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the key, right? You just don't want to say, oops, sorry, I don't have it. What else can I offer you?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately in 2021, we have supply chain issues, but like Tito's, there's plenty of other vodkas on the market. There's amazing whiskeys, and our ships are sailing full with some great products and great offers for our guests. It'd be horrible if we just sat back and said, oh, well, I guess we can't get it.
Right, right. So you have that side, which to me is like spreadsheets galore and phone calls and people running here and there and everywhere. And then you have the very creative side of your job, which I think is like this crazy balance that I don't think you find in a lot of careers. It's kind of one way or the other. And so you've got this creative side, and I loved, you called it the cocktail creation team. And I just think that's amazing. Can you explain to our viewers and listeners what that involves?
Well, I think, at Carnival, all of our cocktails are in-house. This is all creations that are coming up with me and my team working together, looking what's out in the market, looking at things that have been done, maybe years past, and trying to find ways to create amazing experiences for our guests. And again, it's not just me. I've got a great group of mixologists and bartenders that I lean upon and lead, but I encourage them to submit. And I think, as you look at Alchemy, which is arguably our most famous bar fleet-wide at Carnival, over the years, you've seen that menu evolve where it was my drinks and now it's really award-winning drinks from the mixologists on board and these bartenders that our guests know and love. And I think that's special. And that's, that homegrown creativity and that homegrown offer is really what sets us apart.
Well, and I love the fact you had said you've got people from 85 nations. They bring a different palette to the plate, different spices and different ingredients that maybe you hadn't thought of before. And I love the fact that they've got, not free reign necessarily, but they've got creative license, that it's not just here's what we offer, here's your menu. There's some free play there.
No, I think that's what our guests expect in the experience, is to have a bartender that's not just a bartender, that's not going through the motions and making the drinks off the menu, but someone that can be creative, someone that can be engaging, someone that can make something unique and special for our guests. It's uber important to me that they have that free reign. And I think we have great drinks on our menu, right? And so if you sit down and say Fortune Teller or the Red Frog Tiki Bar on Carnival Mardi Gras, you can order off the menu, you can order classics, you can order creative, new, unique drinks. But you can also just talk to the team and have them make you something special.
Well, and that's a concept that's so popular right now. I don't, in Colorado at least, right? We are all about the speakeasies and the bars that allow for that creativeness where it's not, it truly is, you sit down and you talk about what flavors do you like, what don't you like, and then there's this creation that happens. So you're kind of at the forefront. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate that.
So tell me
we
about.
think we're having fun, right? That's our number one goal, is to make sure we're having fun.
Well, and I think it always shows, right? When you're on board, you can see that people like what they're doing. If they don't even like it, they love it. It's a lot of fun to watch. Tell me about 2022. What does Carnival have in store that you can share with us, that we can be excited about?
Well, lots coming that I can't share with you, unfortunately. We're really excited. We have a new ship from Costa Magica, that's going to be joining our fleet. We also have Celebration, right? Carnival Mardi Gras sister ship that will be coming out next fall. Very excited about both of those. Something we haven't talked about is our beer program. At Carnival, we currently have 4 breweries on board that we're operating. We also work with a partner named Brew Hub, who takes our recipes from on board and helps us scale them, produce them in volumes that we can provide fleet-wide. Couple new things coming up, not a lot that I'm really supposed to talk about, but I grabbed these from my office. We do have our very first barrel-aged beer. Let's see if I can get this straight.
Wow.
So Thirsty Frog Red was our first beer at Carnival, our first signature beer. We're moving from there and evolving, and our first barrel-aged beer is going to be an Imperial Red based off of the original Thirsty Frog recipe. We put this into barrels in the summer of 2020 during the pause while we weren't sailing, and knowing that the day was going to come and that it took some time to actually barrel age the beer. These will be released in the coming weeks, fleet-wide. We only have about 150 cases though, so I imagine they'll sell out pretty quickly. So I'm excited about that, and we do plan many more barrel-aged beers in the future. If I could do a few a year, I think that would be the goal.
Oh, I love it. So when you get on a ship, what's the first drink you order?
Am I working or on vacation?
You either or.
Oh, I get a pina colada when I'm on vacation. Very first drink. Might be the only pina colada I have, but that to me is vacation.
Yeah.
Working, I'm always talking to my team. So a lot of the times it's one of my bartenders coming up to me and saying, "Hey, I have something I want you to try. I made this. I have something new. I brought a new ingredient." And then again, I run 4 breweries, so a lot of the times that is my first stop as well, is straight to the brewery, talk to my team, see what seasonal beers they're brewing, anything new that's not on the menu, and what can I try.
I feel like we could go on forever because I just find this so fascinating. I just think it's the coolest mix of creativity and just that needing to get from point A to point B. Every single week, a couple times a week, depending on the ship. I can't even fathom what it's like to do like that quick 3-4 day turnaround. That's got to be intense.
Yeah, but right now with supply chain issues, the 3-4 day means I can load the ship in home port more often that week, and I'm not worried about dealing with outports. But
Yeah.
much easier to buy soda here in the US than it is to try to buy it in the islands.
I'm picturing people like running out in carnival uniforms, like with shopping carts full.
I'm probably saying too much, but yeah, that's a good image actually.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can imagine that it's not just you guys, it's everyone, right? It's everyone having these same sort of shortages.
Oh, 100%. And it's not just the cruise industry, right? When I talk to my friends at other cruise lines, when I talk to them at various hotels or places like Vegas and Orlando, it is an issue that we're all having. Again, if you look at your grocery store, it's a challenge even your local grocery store is having.
Absolutely. That's why I bought my turkey 4 weeks early for Thanksgiving, because I was worried that my turkey would not be there in 2 more weeks. Eddie, thank you so much for being here today. We have, because we are in our third week of giveaways, we have some Carnival t-shirts to give away. Would you mind picking a number between 1 and 55 today? And I think you can pick
Yeah.
two.
How about 27 and 36?
27 and 36. Robbie, please write that down because I don't have. No, I do. 27 and 36. Okay, Robbie's going to count that up, and by the end of the show, we will have our winners. Eddie, have a wonderful holiday. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today, and I hope I see you on a ship soon.
Yeah, hope to see you on the Carnival ship very soon. Have a great day. Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you. I love it, you guys. I mean, talk about fascinating. Can you even imagine? I just can't even imagine what the day looks like for him. All right, Matt's back, you guys, with our favorite frigid destinations with Matt's Compass. Matt, we have made it through the show without a power outage. Yay! Where are you? Maybe you had the power outage. There
I'm
you are.
here.
I can hear you.
I didn't have a power outage, but my internet did go out for about a minute.
Ah,
So
there
I
we
worried
go.
about you, and I was like, uh-oh, I think my internet went out because you froze for a while. And I'm like, I hope it comes back.
All right, so we have some favorite frigid destinations that agents can send their clients to at the last minute or even plan for next year's holidays. What's your first one?
Yeah, why would someone want to go to a frigid destination? I think everybody's wondering, right? But they have experiences like this. Like, have you been to Vegas and they have that like sub-zero bar?
Yes, I have been to Vegas with the Sub-Zero bar.
I was in there for like 20 minutes, and then I got out. It was cold, but um, a lot of people, I think, for the frigid destination, some people like that little bit of cold. They like the Christmas feel. They want the snow, and particularly for people who are adventurous. So my first one is Antarctica, and most people would, if they're going to go there, because it's not a very habitable place for humans, right? It's land completely covered in ice, but they'll typically go by cruise. Uh, there's a couple different things to think about when you're choosing a cruise for this destination. Of course, you have your traditional cruise lines. The traditional cruise lines will pass through and around Antarctica. It'll give you the opportunity to see some of the animals there, which it's known for whales, seals, penguins. They don't actually let you get on the land though. So if your clients want to be on land and step foot and do some activities on Antarctica, then they're going to have to look at a different type of cruise, such as an expedition cruise. You look at Hurtigruten, Lindblad, or Uncruises, and they have the permits to be able to get you on land. Now, there's talk from Celebrity, little insider news here, they're trying to get the permits to be able to do it themselves, because Celebrity does have some expedition style cruises. As of now, they don't have it, but look to them in the future, because that'd be a great cruise line to have this experience. So what would you want to do on land if you could get on land? Well, they do have hiking, glacier viewing, snowshoeing. There's also experiences on some of these expedition style cruises where you can go off and kayak along with penguins, and penguins are all kind of jumping in the water or swimming around you, and you're kind of kayaking around them. So this is definitely a cruise, I would say, if you want to be on land, for someone who's more adventurous.
That sounds amazing. Just amazing. Okay, so then we have the next one is the European Christmas markets.
Yeah, so this is for someone who really wants that Christmas
A
feel.
little bit of a soft spot for this.
Yep.
I'm still aching.
And you got to give us your tips, and 'cause I'm sure you did a lot of research before you chose it. But you were going to go on a European Christmas cruise, river
Mhm.
cruise, and that's what a lot of people nowadays think. Okay, I want to do a Christmas river cruise, but you don't have to. You can do it on land. If you don't, you can do it by land or by river. These Christmas markets are all over Europe. They're in mostly Western Europe and Northern Europe. So think Denmark and Scandinavia, Austria, Germany, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Czech Republic. These are all places where they're known for their Christmas markets. Now, what are these Christmas markets? People wonder. Well, you get great food there, comforting warm food. Of course, there's typically, particularly in Austria and Germany, the glue wine, if I'm pronouncing it, it's probably pronounced glue wine or something. I don't know if I'm doing it right, but that's going to keep you warm while you're exploring the Christmas markets. It's essentially like a mulled wine. It's a warm wine that's spiced. Uh, what can you get there though? So the thing that makes these Christmas markets unique and interesting is that everything there has to be handmade. I think a lot of them even require that there can't be plastic. So it's mostly, arts and crafts, things made out of wood, things made out of metal, stuff like that. So tell me, what do you know about the Christmas market, since I know you did some research?
It's exactly what you've said, and every single one is different. So if you see something at one, purchase it or drink it or eat it, because if you move on to the next, you might not find it again. So I think that's why people come back with so much, because they're afraid of not seeing things again, as you move through the different countries and the markets. So, but all handicrafts and very local, inspired handicrafts, which I think, in this day and age, we don't see a lot of that. Most come from other countries, and so to have something that's handmade in that country is special and unique.
Absolutely. And just the scenery. I mean, you're oftentimes going to these cute little areas with like classic architecture. There might be mountains with snow in the background, snow falling near you. It's like a great photo op opportunity as well, and just cool to just be walking through, right? These
Mhm.
cool little towns.
Well, and it's likely that English is not commonly used. So that's, to me, that's also part of the charm, is that I have to work harder at communicating. And that's something that while uncomfortable, I enjoy that, because then I'm fully immersed.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
wonderful. Okay, and the third one, this is one of my favorite destinations.
Have you been here?
I have been here.
Whistler. So I haven't been. So you're gonna have to fill us in a little bit more too. But I did my research. So Whistler is home to one of the largest ski resorts in North America. It's called Whistler Blackcomb. You can ski, you can snowboard, obviously, but it's not just for that. And so, the first one that I talked about, Antarctica, that's really for your adventurous people. European Christmas markets, it's for people who want to explore, but it's not active, so much besides walking. Whistler, I'm going to say, is a combination of the two, because you can be as active as you want. You can go snowshoeing, you can go tobogganing, right? You can even go ski jumping, which is different, not offered everywhere in the world, right? But you don't have to. If you want to stay in a cozy place and you just want to visit their little village there, they have this pedestrian style village, which has, great shopping, great dining, and really good nightlife as well. You can do that. So this is a great option for if you have a group and you have friends who want to be adventurous and be active, but you also have some friends who just kind of want to relax and keep it chill, then Whistler's an awesome option for you.
It is a beautiful destination. And when you're driving to Whistler, we actually drove from Seattle all the way to Whistler across the border.
Wow.
And when you're driving, if you've seen the Twilight movies, which I believe were filmed up there, it looks just like that. It's so green as you're driving that you truly feel like you're in the movie. where they're like running through the woods. But the town itself is gorgeous. Of course, the Olympics were hosted there several years ago. So you've got all the amenities you could possibly think of, gorgeous accommodations. It is home to the longest ski run in North America. And that says a lot considering I live, 2 hours from Birds of Prey, which is the World Cup course. So this is an amazing run. I don't remember how many miles long it is, but I have done it from top to bottom without stopping. And the group that I was with was like, let's do it again. And I was like, yeah, that's an accident waiting to happen. Like I think it's 9 or 10 miles in length. Like that's a one and done for me. So I went to the bar and I believe I had a Moscow Mule. So, but it is great skiing, and they have an outdoor vodka bar that's all ice. So you sit and your drinks go in these ice cups on these big blocks of ice, and it's in the middle of the mountain. So it's like while you're skiing, you stop and you drink. And yeah, I have this much in that because otherwise I can't focus. So it truly is a gorgeous area. So if you have people who just want that picturesque Christmas destination, or they're big skiers, hands down a great place to send them.
So I have a question for you on that ski run. Was it friendly to snowboarders too, or is it mostly just skiers going down there? I'm a snowboarder.
Oh no, yes it was, because our group of skiers is skiers and snowboarders. So yes, it was friendly to snowboarders. Yes.
What do you know what the rating was? Like,
It's hard.
Diamonds or?
I'll have to look it up. But
Okay.
it's a straight shoot. Like it could be a World Cup course. It might have been
Wow.
the slalom for the Olympics. I'd have to look it up for you, but it's a great run, but couldn't do it twice. I could do it twice if they were allowing me to stop, but they were like, let's do it again without stopping. Oh, no.
Oh, geez.
So, Matt, thank you so much. You guys should know that when I asked Matt to do this segment, I was like, let's talk about those Hallmark destinations. And he wrote and he was like, okay, great, but I've never seen a Hallmark movie before. I'm like, what? This is your assignment for the weekend. You must watch a Hallmark movie.
A Hallmark movie? Okay, any recommendations?
All of them. They are all
Okay.
literally the same. And they don't have to be on the Hallmark Channel. They can be on Lifetime. You can even find them on like regular antenna TV. So you
Netflix?
can find them anywhere, but they usually start with like Christmas in the Rockies or Love
Okay.
on the Slopes or something like that. That's
Okay,
how
I'll do
you
that
know.
this weekend.
Yeah, that's how
I'll
you
see
know
if
it's
they
a
have
Hallmark.
anything on Netflix or Amazon, or I've got Hulu as well, so maybe one of
They're
those.
on there as well because I watched one last weekend. They're on Prime and they're on Netflix. So, all right. Thank you, Matt.
I have one final statement though for our agents. So just an action item. We just gave you 3 great ideas for your clients. Now take this information, write an email, send your clients some inspiration to plan their next Christmas in 2022, and see if you can get a group together.
I love
That's
it.
your homework. My homework is to go watch movies. Your homework is to go email your clients and inspire them to travel for Christmas next.
Movies, bookings. Take your pick. All right, you guys, thanks so much. Matt, let me stay on while I announce our winners. Ashley De La Garza is a winner, and Cami Koch. Yay, you guys. Thanks for joining us today. I will share your information with our fabulous BDM for Carnival, Chris Schutz. We're going to thank all of our guests today. Everyone, this is such a busy time of year, so I thank them, and I thank all of you for joining us today. Apple Leisure Group is our sponsor, and of course, you guys know all of our amazing segment sponsors. Oops, I went too far. There we go. Next week, we continue to have the fun, and I know that it is Christmas week, but we will be here. Princess Cruise Line will be here with us, and so we hope you join us. The week of New Year's, however, we are going to take off so that we can enjoy time with our family and friends, and perhaps a beverage or two. You guys have a wonderful holiday. We'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. Bye.